Streaming is on. And we have a few minutes before we start. I'm just going to do a little chanting just to kind of warm up a little bit and ground. Om Shri Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Darshanam Buddham Tirtam Sugandhik Sundarapuram Namasita Namasriyam Vidharvadokama. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Sasinam Guruvara Shabbat Svatinaha Saraswatyaha Svatin Stavashat Parishkani Svatin Paryaspati Vidatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhutta Srinivasara Sishuna Tejira Shiram Pranashira Hariya Swaha. Om Yamira Sharira Shoshaya Shoshaya Swaha. Om Ram Sankocha Shriram Swaha. Om Pranashira Sishuna Tatena Murashivata Murasavasa Jala 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 Soham Hamsa Swaha. Om Mahasurike Gajarike Vita Swaha. Om Dream Mritikaya Namaha. Thanks for joining. And so, just so you're aware, this is being live streamed as well. And I do this little thing that I call chai and chat, so a little bit of a conversation to start. I'm just going to slip a little closer to the screen here to say hello to the friends that are joining us from afar. So thanks everyone for being there. Hi Sam, good morning, and Tammy and Stephanie. Nice to see you all. I do have some chai here this morning. And the title in each class, so I kind of promote this on my Instagram thing, the social media thing before, like usually just minutes before I start this sometimes. But so yesterday, this class is called Parinama, and that is a Sanskrit word, and it means that essentially it's a process of transformation is what Parinama means. And it's really fascinating. It was stimulated by a student this week sending me a photograph of a caterpillar that went into chrysalis. Which I think I may not be pronouncing it totally right, but what happens is it's when they go into their cocoon, and for however long, and then they come out a butterfly, and so it was really just like this fascinating thing that I went through this week, looking at these images and recognizing that actually that's happening to us in our spiritual practice. Because we're going from like a humanoid mind to a spiritualized mind. And the connecting part to that is this thing that's called Parinama. And it's the energy of transformation. And let me give you like another like simple example. Let's say you take clay by itself, and it's this chunk of dirt, right? And then you add water. Well, the act of adding, water to hardened soil then makes a pliable material that we call, clay for, say, pottery. And that act of adding water to that hardened soil is an act of parinama, is creating a transformation. But then we, form a pot or whatever it may be, and then fire it in the kiln, and that's another form of parinama. We've added heat to make that transformation from, an object that's pliable to something that's been hardened, if you will. And that's exactly what happens to our yoga practice inside of our body, mind, spirit complex, because there are these things that are called samskaras. And these are our impressions that create our physical, worldly experience. And it's those objectifications, and I was talking last week, virtually everything in the world our mind objectifies. There isn't one thing that we don't objectify. Like right now, we're objectifying this room and all the experiences in it. And so it's that objectification that needs the parinama transformation to allow for illuminated perception to appear. And that's just a law. It's just how it works. And so then what goes on in our yoga practice is ultimately what's happening to our mind is it's transforming from rajasic and tamasic dominated energies to more sattvic energies. And these are the three cosmic forces of Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. We're going to Rajas, the energy of activity, Tamas, inertia, and Sattva, purity. And then when we can essentially replace Rajasic and Tamasic energies with pure forms of energy, then we stream pure perception. And so any of the, if you will, any of the avidya is what the yogis use. Avidya means ignorance. This is washed away. And so we're able to perceive the world in its absolute refinement, in its absolute clarity. And so then what happens is that there's, if you will, heat or friction in the process of transformation, whether it be like the kiln firing the clay, or the heat creating steam from water, or from your down dog, and the heat that's in the body that's detoxifying the physical layers of the body, or the heat that's in the body from our pranayama practice that's opening the nadis or the subtle body channels. It's all a process of parinama. It's all a process of transformation. And what I would add to this is that, so, if you guys have heard, my teacher is this Indian guy, Baba Hari Das, and he said that when a person says that they want to become a better person, they're practicing yoga. Just a very simple statement, a very simple, like, oh, I want to be a better person. And then if you consider that, what's happening is there is a change that person, say, is inviting from, let's say, one behavior or one set of circumstances to a different set of circumstances. And the connecting point to that is discipline, if you will. And then the other part of discipline is that there is going to be a desire that's attached to a previous form of behavior that's still there, even though you've made a change. It's like an addict, right? All of a sudden, you have this addiction. You say, well, stop doing the act, but the desire is still there, right? So it's that same thing, but maybe on a more, maybe not as, radical as an example scale. But that is what's happening to that person that says, I want to become a better person. I want to be nicer, I want to be nicer in this relationship, or et cetera, or whatever it may be, right? And so then there has to be that discipline, and then there may be a tendency towards a different behavior that then has to be modified. And that tendency to modify that behavior is going to generate heat. It just is. And so that's kind of what, again, happens to our yoga practice on a physical level, but more over time as we get deeper into these sadhana practices on a subtle level. And that's where, like, the process of parinama, the process of transformation from humanoid to spiritualized mind is this progression that takes, any amount of time based upon, say, the tendencies of the practitioner. It could take a moment, or it could take, lifetimes. But what I would say is it's all worthy of the endeavor of the practice. And so whenever there was like a change, you're like, oh, I've been doing a lot of yoga and I've just been feeling really grounded. And so some of the, the mechanizations of the world, they just don't bother me anymore. Or I'm like, oh, that thing that I heard on the news, I'm like, yeah, oh, that thing, and then you just keep going. So it's that is, if you will, an evidence of a parinama, of a transformation that's taking place, in our being. So it doesn't necessarily come with, great streams of awareness. It can just be little transformations of how we kind of attune, our daily life. So, and then what I'll offer up is when we set the sankalpa, when we set our intentions for our practice today, maybe do a little inner scan of some of the things in your life that you feel like you want to evolve, where you want to be a better human. And then we'll hold that as the sankalpa, individual sankalpa, for the collective. So that's it, friends. So thanks for that, Parinama, the energy of transformation. Imagine by the end of our class, something will shift. So get comfy. Gently let the eyes close down here. Feel a sense of being grounded in the sits bones and length through the spine. So just setting what we know as the asana, or the seated position here. Allow the elbows to kind of track under the shoulders so the collarbone's broad. The torso is nice and broad and spacious, and breathe into the belly. The technique is, as you inhale, the belly extends outward. Create a little balloon, the Buddha belly. And then as you exhale, the belly drops to the spine. What we begin to understand is our yoga practice creates like this amazing climate of wellness, of physical and kind of emotional health, if you will. And it's this simple breathing technique that, if you will, de-escalates the sympathetic nervous system and allows for the parasympathetic nervous system to emerge. And so breathing into the belly, diaphragmatic breath. It's almost as if it's like a yin breath, subtle, and it has like a feminine quality, intuitive, cooling. The natural way of breathing is into the upper chest. That's more yang, more energizing, more heating. And begin to maybe allow for some messaging to come in, maybe something that you'd like to dial dial in your life, say it a little further. It may be adding, it may be letting go. It can be any feature, really. The yogis weren't really so much about letting go without resolving, I would say. It's like everything needs to be resolved. There isn't one stone that shouldn't be unearthed and resolved. Letting go without resolving is just abandoning. It's impermanent. Just feeling your way through that. Maybe begin to message or image how whatever that thing may be that you're seeking to, Parinama, to transform. Visualize what that would be like. What would be necessary to create that change, that shift. We'll chant the mantra of Om here a couple times together, and we'll begin to move the body. So that's kind of like an invitation to the sadhana of transformation, the sadhana of Parinama. Just when you exhale the breath, where and then take a nice big inhale. We'll come up with a seated position here. I appreciate your endurance. And so just make your way into tabletop positions. Come to all fours and just kind of slip whatever support that you're on from underneath you and away from the mat. And then just begin to circle the hips, say in a clockwise fashion, including rhythmic breathing as the heart and torso kind of floats forward, and exhale as the hips will draw back. Just kind of continue that, and then just feel self-empowered, if you will, to move in whatever kind of ways is suitable for your body. Whatever intuitive
inklings may appear. Just going to follow that rhythm. It's always interesting in working with the body. It makes, maybe circle the other way. Because then we get to like a capacity of edge of physical experience of the apparatus of the body. And then eventually, through maybe a few more extra sun salutations or different things, then we kind of pierce through some of the inhibitions that the tissues present themselves. And that's the process that we're inviting here, this process of, again, Parinama, the transformation. And from a neutral position, tabletop, we'll just bow the forehead to the earth here and stay lifted. A little stretch for the upper thoracic. Just take a moment there. And then gently, float the hips up. And then release the hips down. Gaze goes to the horizon. So a little kind of a lazy dog position, and then lift the hips back into kind of that puppy pose or lazy down dog, different fun little things. And then just continue this rhythm. So floating the torso, a full inhale, again, gaze to the horizon, and exhale, and the hips lift. And so just allow this, what we know as flexion and extension of the spine. So that the inhale is the extension, the exhale is the flexion. So moving through the kind of the different groups of the spine. It's axial rotation, lateral things, all the 6 directions of the spine. Just wake all that up. And then come into neutral position. So twist the left hand plant under the face, and take the right hand to the sky. Just breathe deeply, spin the wrist here. Let the breath really support opening the form here. Inhale, and exhale, feeding now this right hand through on the inside, left shoulder and ear to the mat. Left hand reaches to the top edge of the mat, and then the hips can draw to the right. And you'll notice that really seals the twist along the length of the spine. Just breathe here. And take a nice big inhale. And exhale, put the left hand back underneath you, ground it, and then we'll sweep that right hand back to the sky, a little counter twist, we call this, and we'll switch. So ground right hand when you're ready. Float the left hand, the wrist spins, the breath is deep here. Nice big inhale, and exhale, floating. Now left hand through on the inside of the right hand shoulder, near to mat. Right hand reaches top edge of mat, hips to the left. Now sinking into that twist here. And stay with your breath. And then a nice big inhale and exhale. Now that right hand back underneath you. Do a little counter twist of the left arm. Pretty familiar kind of territory. And then take the hands off the mat to the right side. The hips stay lifted here. Inhale the breath and exhale, arcing into the left side body. And then float the forehead to or towards the earth. Breathe very deeply. You can ground the left hand pretty firm here. And then track the outside of the left hip back to create some length in the side bodies of that left side. Stay with your breathing. The thing about the Parinama, about the transformation, is it really is the most effective when we pace things in such a way that we allow for inner heat to really be induced versus tapping on something and then moving away from it. So inhale, float up to neutral, and then the hands off the mat to the left side. Same thing here. Nice big inhale, exhale, arcing. Now into the right side body, forehead to or towards the earth, and just breathe, deeply breathe here. Right hand can ground again, right hips contract a little further back to create a little more physical sensation. And then gently inhale, float on up to neutral here. And then from this position, let the right palm turn up. So a little thing for the shoulders. Inhale, breath, and exhale, just sink into that right shoulder. A little extra rotation of the upper arm bone we find. Just breathe here. And then inhale, float up to neutral. And it'll switch. So left palm turns up. Same inhale, exhale, sinking. A little, again, extra rotation of that upper arm bone. Yeah, and then inhale, float up to neutral position. And I just really like doing this. Kind of work this out with your friends that you may be close to. Extend the right leg out to the right leg. So the toes point forward. And then the hips drift back until you find a little contact stretch in the hamstring and the inner groin. And then bend the elbows, come onto the forearms here. A little pivot, anterior pivot of the pelvis. So kind of moving the pelvis forward to find that stretch of the inner groin. We'll find, just breathe here. Yeah, stay with your breath. Yeah. And then gently inhale, float up to neutral, and then ground the left hand under the face, and another little twist here, float the right hand to the sky. So just reach up again. But then this time bend that right elbow, and we'll let the shoulder blade kind of track onto the back. Breathe deeply here. Yeah. And then inhale, float the arm up, exhale down. We're not quite done though. So take this right foot on the outside of the left knee, like so. A figure four is created. The toes can tuck under or on the top of the foot if that's uncomfortable. And then track open that right knee, and then the hips draw back. And then once again, we'll end up on our forearms here. Almost. For all of you who've been hiking in mountains for weeks at a time, your hips will eventually thank you. Maybe not in this moment, but they will eventually. Yeah, and then gently it'll come up to neutral and switch this all out. And so extend the left leg out to the left, toes point forward again, as best you can. Hips drop back. And again, just come onto the forearms here. Just breathe deeply. Just allow kind of this slower pacing to really feed the nervous system versus like kind of fighting against it. We're so conditioned now for such rapid everything that when we have to sit on something for just a couple seconds, it can be challenging. Sink into the present moment, if you will. And then gently float up to neutral. Again, not done. So right hand plants, left arm floats. So there's another little twist. And then a little bend in that left elbow. So we'll allow the shoulder blade kind of track onto the back here. And just breathe deeply, float into that. Then inhale, reach the hand and arm to the sky. Exhale, neutral position. And then float down this left foot on the outside of that right knee. There's the figure four again. Just kind of work with this. I know it might be a little quirky for the hip. Start here and then bowing, forearms balance. Oh, happiness for that right hip, hopefully. Somewhere in there, yeah. And then gently inhale, float up to neutral. So we're back in the tabletop here. And then we'll meet in down dog. So when you're ready, just tuck the back toes under, lift the thumbs here. Parinama. Take a moment, any kind of movement or wiggling to feel more saturated in the pose, allow the body to just be fully expressed in the form. And sometimes there's some more taut edges that appear when you first get into down dog. Certainly feel free to kind of work through any of that. And again, recognizing that when the body opens a little deeper, there's been a release, if you will, of tension inside of the tissues, and that is akin to a transformation on a physical level. Just breathe here deeply. And then lift the heels. So lift the heels, come up on the tippy toes. Keep the heels lifted and lifting, and sink the heart. Maybe a little more information for the hamstrings, likely that way. And then keep the heels lifted and lifting. Stay with the breath. And then gently release the heels towards the earth. And then poodle bend in the right knee, ground the right hand, stretch left calf and Achilles. So just find that. Breathe in. And then straighten and switch, so then left knee ground, left hand, right calf, and Achilles stretches. And then a little paddling between the two, little wiggling of the hips even if you like. See if you breathe. Just like that. The Parinama always comes with a sense of tapas. It's the yogi word for heat or restraint of desire or burning, different impressions on tapas. Yeah, and then kind of we need to also have some sense of surrender into this program of transformation. So child's pose, to the knees we go, and then release the hips to the heels, hands to the ankles, forehead earth, and just relax, breathe into the belly here. Yeah, just take a moment for that. Ooh. Yeah, so nice. And then gently inhale, float up into neutral, tabletop and down dog, and Svadha Mukha Svanasana here. And then from downward facing dog, a little more specific with some, the body thing. And so ground the roots of the fingers really specifically. So a nice flat plane of the hand, a little caress of the pads of the fingers into the earth here, and then draping the triceps towards the earth, so turning the biceps to the sky. And then you'll notice the tendency is then to pivot the weight into the outside edge of the hand when you do that. So recommit to the grounding of the root of the index finger and the root of the thumb. So the arms are spiraling in opposite directions between the lower and upper arm. So the lower arm is interiorly rotating, upper arm is exteriorly rotating, and that broadens the back. And then belly button to the spine, so hold that in, and then articulate the inner thighs back. So one kind of simple technique is just to draw the pubic bone back, and that'll interiorly rotate those upper thighs. And you'll find then that there's space in the pelvic floor that's created, and all that energy shifts into the hips and into the legs. And that's how actually, downward facing dog can be sustained, if you will. A lot of length in the spine here that way. So optimizing, like Prithvi Sharira, which is the earth body, if you will. And then we meet in the forward fold. So nicely done, friends. So bend the knees, walk the feet to the hands here, forward fold. A little space in between the feet here. We'll notice, and let the weight build into the big toe mounds of the feet. You can kind of turn the head yes and no. So a little bit of that. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows here. And put a little more traction in the spine, likely you'll discover. You can even sway the torso a little bit side to side, and that really creates a deeper sensation. Just allowing a little bit of movement to open up into a few little deeper spaces inside. It's really good. And then inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, so half lift to your hands, mid-shins, lengthen from tail to crown, on your way into that. And then once again, inhale, and exhale, fold deeper into the forearm, chin tucks, hands release at the bottom. And then again, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, fold Uttanasana. One more of these, so inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold, and then plural bend knees, and then send the left leg back into a lunge, and we'll come up into what we know as Dvajasana, so Crescent Lunge or Flax Pose. So float the torso, kind of dial this in a little bit, so engage the back of the quad, a little squeeze of the inner thighs, core is going to tone up, and then just reach the hands and arms to the sky. Let the gaze be right at the horizon, the drishti point, and that helps kind of bring in the vrittis or the mental modifications of the mind. Just breathe deeply, your friends. And then with an inhale, bend the elbows and cactus arms so that the heart space just flourish, or pause for a moment. And then inhale, breath deeply. And exhale, pulse forms towards one another. And then inhale, sweep open. And exhale, pulse. And then one more, inhale, sweep open. Exhale, pulse, and then palms come together, and then inhale, take the hands and arms to the sky, and then take the gaze up here. Yeah, just breathe, and take a nice big inhale, and exhale, gently float all the way out of it. The hands plant and step back into high plank or high push-up. So we're here. I talk about this often, but maybe create a little lengthened stance where the shoulders are stacking behind the wrist, so that flattens the angle of the wrist here a little bit. Just stay with the breath. Breathing deeply to nourish the body, and then float when you're ready. The right leg hip height, so the right leg floats. And take a nice big inhale. Next on the chest, give a little squeeze in. And then inhale leg behind you. Exhale on the chest, squeeze. And then one more, inhale leg behind you. Exhale, squeeze, and then extend the leg, and then just release it down and switch. So just stay with it here. Float the left leg, hip height, pause for a moment. Inhale, breath. Exhale, knee to chest, give it a squeeze. Inhale, leg behind you. Exhale, squeeze. One more of these. Inhale, leg behind. Exhale, squeeze. And then inhale, leg behind you, release it down. Take another big breath. I appreciate all of your endurance. You're like, It's the Colorado altitude is a little higher than Virginia.
It is.
I'm telling you, and release to the knees, come all the way down. Just, and you know that already, but now you're reminded of it. And so feet, pelvis, hands, ground, and inhale, float, torso. Breathe in, pause here for a moment. Just engage the muscles of the back. Inhale, breath. And exhale, float, torso, forehead down. And again, inhale, float on up. And exhale, float down. One more of these. Inhale, float on up. And then tuck the back toes under. Exhale, lift hips back. So down dog, and again, down low. Breathe deeply here. Again, just nourish the body with your breath. Notice, what's happening internally. Right? A little pressure on the pulmonary circuit, so breath is a little deeper, maybe a little later. Heat is building. That's the heat of the tapas. So Parinama transformation. Then a little bend in the knees and left foot steps, left hand. Pause there and then just come on up. So float torso. Float arms again. So back of the quad is firm. That heel can lift. The core is active here. And then inhale. Reach the hands and arms to the sky. Stay with the breath. You'll notice the difference if you stretch the heel towards the earth. That shortens the hip flexor. And then if you lift the heel, that lengthens it. So just maybe a little experiment that way. And then with an inhale breath, cactus the arms. So I lift my heel because I want the hip flexor to open. Inhale. Again, then exhale, pulse forearms. And inhale, sweep open. Exhale, pulse. And then one more, inhale, sweep open. Exhale, pulse, palms together. Inhale, reach the hands and arms to the sky. Gaze up. Stay with your breath. Big inhale. And exhale, gently release the back foot steps to the top of the mat. So forward fold here at the top of the mat. Take a moment. Yeah. Breathe deeply. And then inhale, half lift. Pause here, hands to shins, lengthen toes to ground, little tongue to the core, and then a little bend in the knees, cactus the arms, lift the elbows, flat back to standing. So just a big advocate of flat back. Reach the hands and arms to the sky, and just put a little sway in the body. And just feel and reach and breathe. Move. And pause, neutral, inhale, breath.
Exhale, hands behind you, interlace the fingers. Inhale, your breathing lengthen from the spine, shoulders move away from the ears. Pause here for a second, and then lift the hands and arms a little bit. So feel into that. And then another nice big inhale. Next up, bend the knees and generously hinge at the hips. Float the hands and arms over the head, bowing. And you can, if it's appropriate, straighten the legs a little more. You choose. I just don't want to jam it into the low back. Say, ah. Breathe deeply. And a nice big inhale. Next, so gently release the grip of the hands. And then we'll send the right leg back into the lunge. And then float torso and float arms again. So right leg back. Just reach up, 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 up. Stay with the breath here. Big inhale. Next on the left hand, left waist. Then inhale, reach right hand forward. Fist with the right hand. So twist to the left. So this right elbow on the outside of near thigh, sinking armpit to knee. Re-engage the back leg quad. Left hand covers the right hand. And then track the left shoulder away from the left ear. And that really opens things up. Allow the collarbones to be broad. And then if you want to take it deeper still, right hand to the earth. The left hand to the stars. Stay with the breath. Again, firm up the back of the quad. Deeper still, this left arm will go over the head towards the front of the room. Yeah, just breathe here. Just take a minute for the tapas to build, the heat to build. And then a big inhale. And exhale, gently release, hands plant, high plank we meet. So step out left leg back. Oh yeah. Nourish the body with breathing. Yeah, stay with your breath. So it's like we recognize the container, we recognize the context. So we talk about the heat of transformation, how it's affected, then all of a sudden it just, in our practice, it just appears again and again and again. And nice big inhale, exhale to the knees, to the belly here. Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose, we know this. So feet, pelvis, hands, ground, float torso up, maybe a little higher this time, and actively move the shoulders away from the ears and wrap the elbows towards the side bodies. Ground the hands, and then isometrically track the hands towards the waist to pull the heart forward. And you might even spread the toes a little bit, and you'll all find what's happening with that. Big inhale. Next, I'll look over the right shoulder. Yeah, pause here. Another inhale. Exhale, look over the left shoulder. Pause here, breathe. And then nice big inhale. Exhale to neutral and all the way down. Tuck the back toes in the room. Inhale through a high plank. I push up and exhale with hips packing down to just send the hips up and back. Re-access the muscle actions, so hands, triceps, core, thighs, all that. So allow for this structure to really be expressed here in the form. Each one really. Nice, friends. And then the right foot steps to the right hand. Float torso. When you're ready, come on up. So we're here. Reach arms to the sky, back heel lifts a whole bunch. And then you can make this as deep as you want. A big inhale. Exhale now, right hand, right waist. Inhale, left hand forward. Fist, left hand, twisting to the right, sinking armpit to knee once again. Ooh. Right hand covers left. Right shoulder away from right ear. So collarbones broad. Take a moment for that. You choose. And then left hand earth, right hand stars to take it deeper. Stay with the breath. And deeper still. Big inhale. Exhale the right arm over the head. And just reach. Re-engage the back of the quad. Yeah. Big inhale. And exhale, hand down, look down. Back foot steps to the top of the mat, forward fold. That's where we end up again. Take a moment here, friends. Ooh. Yeah.
And then inhale, Ardha. Half lift, hands mid-chins, lengthen tail to crown. Then we'll bend knees, cactus the arms, lift the arms flat back to standing. Then once again, just a little sway in the body. And just reach and breathe. Yeah. And then a little standing kind of back bend practice here. So bring the hands and arms down behind you. And really it's just going to depend upon the length of your arms. It could be on the back, your buttocks, thighs, and then draw the collarbones broad. Just kind of squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep the core active, so belly button to the spine, little bend in the knees. And then kind of lengthen through the crown of the head. And keep lifting the sternum up, which is really just squeezing the muscles of the back. And just breathe. And then when you're feeling, if it feels stable, and that's going to be governed by the belly button drawing to the spine, you can take it a little deeper. You choose. It's necessary, though, to bring the belly button to the spine to sustain the structure of the core here, lumbar spine specifically. And then keep lengthening through the crown of the head. You may even track the shoulders away from the ears a little bit more. And just breathe deeply here. Stay with the breath. And then gently the hands can return to the low back or so float on up. Just take a moment. Let all that prana move through, feel. Take an exhalation. Really careful here. Big inhale and hold breath in and wait on it. Slowly exhale. A little bend in the knees. Okay. So just a little bit of movement here in Surya Namaskar, sun salutation. And I'll kind of get us through this one movement, one breath. Inhale, foot, hands and arms, reach up. Exhale, swan dive, fold forward, hinge. Inhale, flat back, half lift. Exhale, fold, send the left leg back into lunge. Inhale, float upper body, arms for reach. And exhale, gently float all the way out of it, hands flat, step back, high plank, high push-up. A little different iteration, 8 points bowing. So inhale, breath. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. That's Ashtanga Pranayama. Inhale, pull forward, cobra or up dog, you choose. So your choice there. Exhale, lift the hips, down dog. And then just gently step left foot, left hand. And then inhale, float, torso, float arms to reach up. And then exhale, back foot steps, going forward, Uttanasana. And then inhale, sweep all the way to standing, Urdhva Namaskar. Asana, it's called exhale, hands to prayer, Namaskar. Asana, and again, inhale, reach hands and arms to the sky. Exhale, swan dive, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold bend knees, right leg goes back this time, right leg, and then inhale, float upper body, arms. So just moving and breathing here. Exhale, float all the way out of it. Hands flat, step back, high plank, push up. Inhale, breath. Exhale, 8 points bowing, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, pull forward, cobra or up dog. Then exhale, lift the hips, down dog. And then a simple little step, right foot, right hand. Then inhale, float upper body, arms to reach here. Then exhale, back foot steps, going forward, Uttanasana. Then inhale, reach all the way to standing, Urdhva Namaskar. And then exhale, hands to prayer. We'll do another one of these. Both sides go around, so inhale, reach hands and arms. Exhale, swan dive, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold left leg goes back here. Inhale, float upper body, arms to reach. And exhale, gently release all the way down, hands flat, step back, high plank, push up. Inhale, breath. Exhale, 8 points spine, Ashtanga Pranayama. Inhale, pull forward, cobra, up dog, you choose. Exhale, lift the hips, down dog. Simple little left foot steps, left hand. Inhale, float torso, float arms to reach. And exhale, back foot steps, going forward. And then we'll sweep all the way to standing reach. To the stars, exhale, heart. So last side coming. Inhale, float hands and arms, reach. Exhale, swan dive, fold forward. Yep. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, send the right leg back. Then inhale, float upper body, arms. So come on up. And exhale, float all the way out. Hands front, stay back. Like a push up, inhale, breath. Exhale, Ashtanga Pranayasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right foot steps, right hand. So this is Anjaneya Asana into what's called Dvajasana. So flag pose, and then exhale, Uttanasana. That's forward fold, top of the mat. And then inhale, Urdhva Namaskar Asana. So all the way to standing, you'll reach in to the sky, heart center, Namaskar. Awesome. Take a moment here. Let the hands float to the side, eyes closed. And then allow for the sankalpa, your intention to reappear. And somewhere, it always seems it's necessary in any form of transformation is that there's a surrendering. Something gives, if you will. And for the yogi, it's not the object that we're pushing against, it's the object that's inside of us that's making us push. It's that in us that needs to give. So just soften your heart, your mind. Nice. Just gently open the eyes here. We'll kind of do a little vinyasa, get into down dog, so we don't float hands and arms. Just kind of exhale, swan dive, fold forward here. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, bend, plant, knee, step back, high plank, high push up here. Nice big inhale. Exhale, Ashtanga Pranayasana. 8 points, just a big fan of that. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. That is up dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog, and meet. Take a moment there. Ooh. Yeah, and then Virabhadrasana, one, warrior one on the right side. So bend the knee, step the right foot, right hand. So again, warrior one, pivot the left toe down, come to standing. There's no hurries here. Take a moment, let the hips kind of begin to square up. You don't really totally. That's fine. Hands and arms reach to the sky. Here, inhale, reach taller. And exhale, float the hands behind you, interlace the fingers. And then inhale, extend the spine, so shoulders away from the ears. And then exhale, bow the torso on the inside of this right leg, hands and arms over the head. We find, breathe, sink into the hip. You can engage the back of the quads, sustain the form, little belly button to the spine, helps also deepen into the pelvis. Then exhale, breath completely. And then inhale, float, hands and arms to the sky, so reach all the way up. And then hands to peace warrior. So hands to prayer, heart center. So we kind of been working with this since last June. So peace warrior stance. Inhale, breath. Exhale, hands to the waist. Inhale, straighten front leg, and then pivot 180 degrees to the left. So spin all the way around. Reset your stance. So typically, the right leg has to step out. So we're just going the other way. Warrior one again. So left leg should be forward here. Stay with the breath. Virabhadrasana one. Just reach up, lengthen. Big inhale. Exhale, hands behind you, and release fingers. Inhale, extend the front spine, go tall, shoulders away from ears. Exhale, bow torso. Now on the inside of that left leg, hands and arms and such over the head. Just breathe here. Stay with the breath. And then exhale, you're breathing completely. And then inhale, float all the way back into Virabhadrasana Warrior for a moment. Hands and arms over the head. Then Peace Warrior stance, hands to prayer at the heart, center. Just take a moment there. Inhale, breath. Exhale, hands to the waist. Then inhale, straight the front leg. Exhale, pivot all the way around. And then we'll move into Virabhadrasana 2, so Warrior 2. Stay with your breathing, a little squeeze them in your thighs, a little engagement, back to quad core, and tone here, arms float, shoulder height. Stay with the breath. Making sure the knees tracking directly over that ankle in line with the foot. Palms turn up, feel the shoulder blades on the back. Exhale, breathing. Then inhale, straighten the front leg, reach to the sky. Exhale, bend front leg knee. Couple more times, palms turn up, inhale, straight, reach. Exhale, bend, float. One more of these, palms turn up, inhale, reach. And then exhale, float, neutral. And then just reach this right hand forward, extend the triangle. So right forearm, right hand, left arm over the head. And just reach. Ground the big toe mound of the left foot by engaging the quad of that left leg. And then reach the tips of the fingers, more and more and more, and then take the left hand to the sacrum. The palm turns down, the heart opens, so just keep spinning open in the form. Stay with the breath. Oh yay. And then gently, ever so gently, just straighten the front leg. Keep the heart spinning open, and then maybe reach the right hand towards the earth, and then float the left arm again, so triangle pose. Trikonasana, heart keep spinning open. Ooh, yay. And a big inhale, then exhale, this left hand to the sacrum, bend front leg knee, so back into Warrior 2, very gently. Inhale, you're breathing. Exhale, hands to the waist, inhale, straight in front leg, pivot this right foot in, left opens. So again, 180-degree turn on your backs. Warrior 2, once again, bend in the front leg knee when you're ready, arms float, shoulder height, drape, gaze, or drifting to the horizon. Breathe. And then the palms turn up. And then inhale, straight front leg, reach, hands and arms to the sky. Exhale, bend front leg knee. A couple more times on your own. Just move and breathe. And pause here and just reach. So it's left hand forward, left arm, left thigh, right arm over the hip, so extend the side angle. Really ground firmly the back foot. So right foot, right quad active. Big long side body, heart keeps spinning open here. Stay with the breath. And then take the right hand to the sacrum, palms down. So again, heart is opening. Take a moment here. Ooh. And then gently straighten the front leg. Kind of reaching this left hand towards the earth a little bit. And then right hand back to the sky. So Trikonasana, triangle pose. You know this not yet. Breathe. Stay with the breath. A nice big inhale. Exhale, right hand sacrum, bend front leg knee. Warrior 2 once again. So subtle little movement out of it. Inhale, breath. Exhale, hands to the waist. Straighten the front leg, and then pivot just the left foot in. So Prasarita Padottanasana, we know this is wide, legged angle forward. Inhale, you're breathing, and then exhale, just hinge at the hips here. Folding forward, let the weight build into the big toe mounds of the feet here. The hands can release down, lengthen the crown of the head towards the earth. Just breathe deeply here, friends. And then gently inhale, half lift, pause. And then plant the left hand under the face. Then inhale, take the right hand to the sky. So just a little twist to the right. And just breathe here. Breathe deeply. With the breath, support opening the form. Keep reaching through the fingertips of the right hand with intention. So that right hand is engaged, the palm is open. Inhale, breath. Exhale, we'll switch the right hand down, ground, and then inhale for the left arm. Reach, breathe, stay with the breath. Ooh. And nice big inhale. Exhale, hand down, look down. Inhale, you're breathing. Exhale, hands to the waist, little bend in the knees. Inhale, back to standing, and pivot the right foot, and just step the back foot to the top of the mat. Take a moment here, shake it out a little bit, little shimmy. Just move the body, and then release out of the form. And once again, let the palms turn open. Close the eyes. Allow your awareness, if you will, to shift into what may be more subtle landscape within and also around you. As the physical body gets somewhat resolved in our asana practice, the emergence of Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body, begins to appear with just a very simple perception of the five pranavayus, most remarkably the anavayu, the aura. Friends, you can just gently open the eyes here. Inhale, just float the arms over the head. And exhale, swan dive, fold forward, arms to thighs and chin tucks, hands come down, same time. Then inhale, half lift. Exhale, full meet and down dog. So just a little bend in the knees, just step back into down dog. Here. A moment. And then from this position, let the heels go to the right and the hips will follow. And then just sink the heart here. Just feel into that. And then the hips float up, the heels follow to neutral, then heels left, hips left, and sink the heart here again. Breathe. And then inhale, float up to neutral. And exhale, we'll be into child's pose. So to the knees we go. Hips to the heels, forehead, or hands back to the ankles or so. Just take a moment and relax. Breathe into the belly. Ultimately, what is being guided in the practice of asana is that as certain experiences begin to resolve themselves through form and formless nature, then our perceptions begin to just alter here and there. Again, that flow of more rarefied air, more purified type of energy. gently coming up here. And we'll make our way to a seated position with the legs extended. So seated position with the legs extended. Rounding this a little bit. And then from this position, bend the right knee, draw the foot towards the pelvis. And then ground the left hand somewhat behind the hip. So, and then inhale, float the right arm up. So reach the right arm up. Spread the toes of the left foot. And then draw the right arm on the inside of the right leg, like so. And then find this contact pressure. Feel that. And then just spin open out to the left. And just breathe. Lengthen the spine, so sit tall. Keep the toes spread over the foot. And just grounds the leg. Breathe here. Yeah. And then a nice big inhale and exhale. Soften out the twist. We're not done though. So from here, let the torso kind of lean on the inside of this right leg. Then upper arm of that right arm hooks on the shin, and then just ground both of the hands. And then you can track this upper arm back a little bit, and that'll ground the arm into the leg, but more likely you'll find that it grounds the head of the femur bone in the acetabular. Feeling into that. Stay a little bit up. And then from here, if you want, we can open the arms to the side, the thumbs turn down, and then bend both elbows and maybe possibly bind this. Feel that. And then open up again now to the left. And just breathe and just squeeze everything. So this is so optimal for our wellness, is all the kind of the rinsing and the bringing that we can do of the inner organs through these more refined positions in our asana practice. We'll find a nice big inhale and exhale. Gently release here the grip, and then just let this right leg float open to the right, like so. So we're here. And then turn the torso over the extended leg, and then grab the shin here. And the tendency might be to go down, but I prefer you to go up in length. So we're lengthening the front spine. Again, spread the toes of the left foot. And then the body will eventually migrate, but just imagine like floating the heart forward and up versus down. Because you can see when we go down, what happens is the spine actually shortens, it doesn't lengthen. And so it actually releases the pressure from the hamstring. We want to keep the hamstring kind of long from the root of the pelvis. So just think going from the root to the crown. On that full extension, maybe the hands, walk to the foot. And then a nice big inhale. And exhale. Now we can round. Drape the torso over the leg, the forehead, towards the shin or knee or whatever. And just breathe into the belly. So force the belly out as you inhale, and that will allow the breath to move into the kidney area, the back body. Oh. And then gently, belly button to the spine, hold that there. Inhale, walk the hands up the leg to come out, because we go from stretching to strengthening, and that can be a tender thing. And then just feel the release of the energy through the body. So just take a minute and just look inside. And we'll switch this whole thing out. So draw this right knee up and extend the leg, bend left knee, draw it. Like so. And then ground right hand in, float left arm. Then exhale on the inside and just squeeze. And then spin open, to the right. And again, breathe into the belly. Keep the toes spread of the right foot now. You can even ground the big toe mound of the left foot, so breathe some intention into that. And just twist open and lengthen. And then a nice big inhale. And exhale, soften out the twist. And allow the torso to kind of, again, draw now on the inside of this left leg, upper arm, shin, both hands ground. Find that. Kind of track that upper arm back into the leg. And you notice that pressure likely increases in what's called the acetabulum, and that's the connection between the head of the femur bone and the pelvis. And then open the arms, thumbs turn down naturally, and then blend both elbows, maybe interlace the fingers, and then twist open to the right again. And just breathe. Stay with the breath. Squeeze. Ooh, a nice big inhale. And exhale, gently release the grip of the hands. Take a moment, let that left knee just float. Open. And then capture the shin once again. Take a moment here. Let the body lengthen from the root of the pelvis to the crown of the head, the toe straight of the right foot. Breathe here. And then just let the body slowly migrate. Allow for the front spine to sustain its extension, if you will. So there's like energy. I'm drawing the shoulders away from the ears, energy to tone the back of the body to keep that elongated structure. The hands can float into the foot. Yeah, and then inhale, breath. And then exhale, and just drape the body down over the extended leg. Breathing into the belly. And once again, so just let the belly float out. It's like Buddha belly. Feel the sensation, keeping the back of the body. All the Parinama, all the transformation. Now, we begin to really induce the movement of the stratus of Sukshma Sarira, so the stratus of the subtle body here. Just in superficial layering them, and just in the five pranavayus, which are really significant though. And then gently belly button to the spine. Inhale, walk the hands back up. And if that is a little foreign to you, so that it's okay. And then extend. Now this left leg, Dandasana. You know this is down low, so the hands stack under the shoulders and just lengthen the body up here. Just breathe, take a moment. And then we'll bend the knees, and I ask y'all that are here in the studio to spin around 180 degrees so your heads are at the top of the mat, and then gently make your way onto your back. So there's no big feats of strength. They will all meet on our back here. And as a matter of fact, kind of go for a full body stretch. So extend the hands and arms long over your head here. Big stretch. Stay with the breath. Maybe point and flex the feet here a little bit. And then star pose. So let the feet and legs widen a little bit off the mat. You might find the hands and arms wide, but make sure your shoulders are comfortable. I say that because I have, to make a few adjustments. So when my arms are wide and my shoulders are happy. And just breathe into the belly and just let the body just melt into the earth here. A sense of surrender. Very important component of transformations. Conscious release. And just a little gentle bend of the knees here into the chest. Give them a hug. Little rock side to side here, massaging the spine. Ooh. And then we'll come into Viparinama Mudra. We know this is reverse posture seal. The form is akin to legs up the wall, but the hips are lifted off of the earth. You can use a block under the pelvis for this purpose. It's very helpful. Or just let the feet, legs, and hips lift the hands to the low back, if you will. And then the body takes a V shape, so the legs release to the sky. If you are on a block, it can be helpful to flush the face of the block against the sacrum. And so the technique usually is to turn the block on edge to get that block face to be flush. Palms turn up here. So there's always a broadness in the torso. The eyes can close. Just let the medicine flow here. Gently begin to make our way out of this, a little bend in the knees. If you're on a block, grounding the feet, or if you're not on the block, gently let the hips float to the earth, different ways. And be on the flat back here for a moment. And just recognize then the flows of energy that exist in Sukshma Sarita, sun body, more of a formless state of recognition. A little hug of the knees last time into the chest, and we'll come into our Pre-Shavasana breath retention. We'll just do one of these and push the belly out. So extend the legs out long, the feet turn open, the palms turn up, of course, arms by your side or so, and then exhale the breath completely, and then take a nice big inhale. Hold the breath in, pooch out the belly. Silently exhale. Go to the very bottom of the breath. One is invited to carry this Shavasana. If you would like to make any adjustments for comfort, please do so. Notice how do you feel. Just witnessing. Recognizing the sense of spaciousness. Coupled with presence. Coupled with peace. Just gently let the breath come into the belly and rising and the subsiding of the breath in the belly. So we're moving. Gently allow the stirring of the body, feet, hands, things closed. At some point, we'll stretch of the arms. So bend on the left side, so a little longer knees at some point in there. To the left, and just take a moment there in the ball. Just gently come to seated position. Just so we'll have about another 15 minutes of practice. Very gentle breathing and meditation. And suggestion is to find a stable seated position. Typically, a little elevation under the pelvis can be helpful. So whatever is suitable for your seated practice. Once that's oriented, allowing the knees to ground, and again, the spine to elongate, the eyes eventually close with more closed. Our breath work today will be very subtle. We'll first do a little bit of deep breathing with the kumbhak, with a little retention or suspension of the breath at the top and the bottom of the breath. So you can begin that now. It's with a full yogic breath technique. And so as a reminder, or if it's new, the belly extends outward to initiate the inhale. And then the ribs expand, and then the chest lifts and expands. So full breath in, and the kumbhak again is a suspension. It's a little different than holding the breath, though, I might say, in that one continues to filter, say, a few remnants of air into the lungs for a few counts, and allowing that to be, again, that suspension, the kumbhaka, and then exhaling. Same at the bottom of the exhale. You begin to continue rather filtering air out of the lungs at the very bottom of the exhale. That can be a little tender for the nervous system if the practice is a little newer. And that's fine. It's very, very transforming. It's so much wisdom can come into the being through an extended exhale practice, and particularly when the breath is held out of the body. So you can work that out. You don't necessarily want to gasp for air on the inhale, but a little ping of the nervous system at the bottom of that exhale just to let you know it's a good moment. Next exhalation, cycle through, just complete that round. Let your arm release the practice here. Indication of spiritual vision. Just gently let the drishti ascend internally into the third chakra, Parinama chakra, which is 4 finger widths deep inside the brain from the front of the forehead at the level of the eyebrow. Sometimes you can even actually just roll the eyes up inside to help the pathway, the marga track to the chakra. Let the breath be very, very subtle here, very light. Maybe breathing just into the belly, but as you inhale, lift the energy of the breath into the chakra. And as you exhale, let that energy expand through the chakra, the head region inside. You'll eventually discover the lighter you breathe here, frankly, the more illumination can appear in the inner experience. And so the breath of it's like a refined mist, or as light as the breath of a feather. You're essentially extracting the prana from the breath and infusing it into the chakra. Try very lightly. continue the Parinama, the yoga then includes the mantra of so hum. So as one inhales, hum as you exhale. Of course, this is internal. So hum. We understand its translation as being I am that. In other words, you are spirit, you are eternal, you are pure consciousness. So disciplined concentration. Allowing it to have a very light quality.
gently here. Let the mantra subside, as well as the concentration on the third eye chakra. And then allow for just a sense of awareness, witness, a sense of being to gently emerge. Presence. Attracted by this preeminent feeling of presence. It's as if a timeless space is being occupied in time. It's really just defined as the moment. Just begin to notice the world around you, say, in this movement of things and the climate of presence and the stillness, the peace, its essence. Undisturbed. invited to join in chant of Om one time and then three shantis. Full breath for Om. So exhaling here. That's so beautiful. Let's do that again. Just three shantis. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just simply just notice how you feel in this moment in awareness. When you walked in the door, the Parinama, the field of transformation. So we answer prayer here at the heart and just sharing a sense of gratitude for our opportunity to practice together, learn together, and to the teachings of yoga and just this incredible container of wisdom they hold. Stay. Always give a sweet goodbye to the friends online, and so thanks everyone for joining, of course. And, a little Parinama going on, a little transformation and other things. Step gratitude, same, and so much love for everyone. And always remember to love, peace,